Oh, hello everybody. It's Totally Local Podcast. Monmouth County, Ocean County, colorful characters, entrepreneurs, local businesses in and around the Jersey Shore area. We're covering it all. And today, we're having breakfast because we love French toast. We love pancakes. We love eggs. And we're coming here to Meemoms. We're sitting down with Cameron and Sean, the owners, the founders. Cameron, you're the founder. You brought Sean in.
Yes. Yep.
And it was a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
You guys know each other from back in the day, from high school.
Yeah, the high school days.
It's. I just wanted to see if I. Okay, cool. It was. It's interesting to hear about a business and how they start, because there's two types of people. There's the seasoned vet who tells you all the right steps. And then there's the actual business owner who just hits the ground running. He's in the foxhole with his, hopefully a co-owner makes it a lot easier. And you just kind of figure it out as you're going. You have an idea, you have a passion, you have a dream, and you just hit the ground running. And from what I've gathered, that's kind of how you guys started the business.
Yeah, it was definitely hit the ground running. There was no guidance. We just kind of took a chance and had some help from my parents, and here we are today.
Yeah, everybody, it definitely helps to have help, have guidance, have that extra, people behind you supporting you. So I would imagine that you guys have a pretty good support system when it was started. When you guys kind of started it, there was a lot of people that were like, "Go do this, open a breakfast place," or were they like, you're nuts?
It was more of the you're out of your mind type thing. 'Cause I was working at my dad's bar at the time, and it just wasn't really doing it for me. And me and my original, I came up with the idea to do French toast after my grandma had passed.
Yeah.
And I never really saw a French toast house before. You have like the Waffle House.
Waffle House.
And like Perkins and
pancakes.
pancakes. So I was like, all right, here's my idea, and I had pitched it to a friend of mine that was cooking at the other job with me, and he wanted in.
Nice.
And then we did it, and then things happened, and Sean got involved, and it's been easy ever since.
So you, before getting into this too, you were a musician, you were in a band, you weren't really sure about what you wanted.
I didn't tell him anything, man. He did his research.
Bro, there's no way you found that online.
I did. I do. Everyone's always surprised. They're like, "How did you know that?" I'm like,
"I can't even find a picture of me online if you Google my name." Hold on.
So I couldn't figure out what the name of the band was.
It does not matter.
It does matter. There's two different people that it's so funny. I interviewed Jeff Plate from Asbury Park Brewery, and he had a rap. He had a very, very small stint as a rapper, and I know his rap name, but he was like, "How did you figure that out? How did you?" I never told anybody. I didn't say it on the air because he, is a businessman. So even if I did find out the band name, I wouldn't reveal it unless you would reveal it. But you were doing that as a, I like making music. I still make music. It's something I enjoy. But going to me, it seems like a natural thing where if you're in a band and you love making music and you love making people happy and doing that stuff, coming up with this concept that involved obviously your late grandmother, or how she would make food and make people happy. Going from that to this, you're essentially still an entrepreneur. You're still doing kind of like what you want to do on your terms. Did you find any kind of correlation to those two things of like what you were doing going into this?
Yeah, I think probably writing music's harder than this. Because you could change your music style a million times until you find something that fits. This, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew the idea, and it was just getting it on paper and getting the finances. And like I said, luckily my parents were really helpful with it and gave us got a loan out for us to do this. So, hey, if anyone ever says that your parents helped you, yeah, they did. And anyone that wants to say something negative about that can kiss my ass. So how about that?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's out there that says they do it on their own, I don't think they really recognize the support that goes into while you're doing anything in life. It really makes it a lot. In some ways, it's motivating. In some ways, it's tougher if people are like saying like, "Don't do this, you're crazy." Like to me, there's been maybe half the time where somebody said that to me, and I'd be like, "All right, well, F you, I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
So that's
no. Without them, we wouldn't be here. There's no other way to say it. And we always, my mom and dad kind of run the show behind the scenes. We think they definitely have their 2 cents in the business, though. But
it
Can't
helps
complain.
too if you know your dad having a business in the service industry, having that, you could kind of go to him and ask
He's
him.
actually an architect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So wait a second.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
He
his,
was
that
like,
was his
I don't
side
want-
gig.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's like, I don't want to architect anymore.
No, him and some buddies got together and opened up a bar in Long Branch.
Oh, right on.
And
You've probably heard of it, the Draft House. I don't know
Oh.
if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
it didn't, it didn't work as planned. I mean, it worked.
Uh-huh.
And they were doing really well in the beginning, and then I think there was just so many hands in the basket.
Yeah.
And they kind of, not necessarily lost their way, but they just kind of, everyone had a different idea.
I've seen that a lot with restaurants, especially where you have these concepts in the beginning. You bring in these people to work on it, and then it kind of becomes this instead of getting stuff done, it becomes this argument of how to get stuff done. Instead of like moving forward, you kind of how do you guys navigate? Is it just you two making the decisions, and are you guys just because you look happy now? But maybe at like 6 a.m. when you guys were first talking before you had your coffee, were you guys like yelling at each other like the omelets are wrong? Like what how do you guys like work together to make sure everything's successful?
I think we have, I would say, like our areas of expertise or like areas that we've fallen into over the years where we kind of, not that we handle it solely, but that's kind of like we trust each other's opinion in certain areas, and in the beginning when we were in one restaurant and we thought life was so tough. Looking at it now, like we've decided to go about it a different way where it's not just dependent on just us. We have a team. We have managers in each store. We've recently hired one of our managers to fully run our social media and kind of do our PR stuff. And we're learning on the fly, not just how to run a restaurant, but how to run 3 businesses at once.
So, speaking about like learning things on the fly, Sean, you went from the little leagues to the big leagues of owning your own business, being a co-owner. You made a very interesting decision to take a job out in Indianapolis, and you were working for the Little
League International, which is everyone knows them for Little League World Series, and but they're actually like the biggest youth sports organization in the world. A lot of my job you would see on TV, the big parts of it, but the main job was to, an angry parent from Michigan would call in and their league was doing something wrong, and I'd have to,
oh man,
open up the rule book and tell them what they should be doing. Or we did a lot of training for leagues on just how to be more efficient, and I had a great time. It was great. We worked with a lot of volunteers.
But the hours were like killer, right?
In the summer, the hours are crazy, yeah.
And
they were, if we were running a tournament, I was there at 7 a.m. and I wasn't home till midnight.
Was your wife from out there?
No. So we moved out there just for the job.
Oh wow, is she from here?
She's from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
She's from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where the Little League World Series is held.
Oh, coincidentally? That's strange. Or did you like hit on her at like a Little League
I networked
gathering?
a little bit to get the job, so
nice.
We knew someone. It landed me an interview, and one thing led to another, and I was willing at that point, coming out of school, to go wherever I had to go to get a job. I was able to do some things before going out there. We traveled the country, so I kind of got all that stuff out of my system, and it was, the pressure was on, land a position. I'll go wherever I have to go.
Yeah. And they took you out to Indianapolis.
We go out to Indianapolis. I'm there for like 2.5 years. My son was born out there, and once he was born, and I was working from 7 to midnight, and we had no, family or anything out there, immediate family. We had some friends, but kind of pushed us back to come back home, come back to New Jersey. Coincidentally, worked out where I moved back, and Cameron just opened Meemoms, and I was looking at doing some other things, still looking at sports. I actually we went out for New Year's Eve.
There's a photo of it.
There's a picture of us.
Oh, nice.
And Cameron said, hey, why don't you come into the restaurant? He's like, I'll just teach you, whatever, what I'm doing. I'll teach you, because I had never cooked before, but I bartended and served. And so I was like, all right, I'll think about it, And he's like, if it goes well, he's like, you can become a business partner maybe on the second one. And I was like, all right. And so a couple days go by, and I end up taking this other opportunity. I drive up to Hoboken. I was going to like I think I was gonna become like start taking classes in like the fitness industry,
like physical therapy stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
and I drive up to the place where I'm taking the class. I walk in the building. I'm the first one there. There's no one in the classroom, not even the instructor. And I just had like this inkling where I was like, what am I doing?
I want to make French toast.
Yeah, I ended up just walking out. I left, got in my car. I called him. I drove down here. We sat down for, 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it.
I picture like New Year's Eve, very loud music. You guys are a couple drinks, few drinks in.
Yeah, there's a drink. It's a picture of us. We're cheersing.
Yeah.
We were in Red Bank at
Bonacera,
yeah.
Oh, nice. Well,
And so one thing led to another. I came down here. We met. I started cooking on the line. 2 days later, and the funny thing is, like now that I look back at it, my grandfather had a butcher. He was a butcher. My dad's worked in the produce industry his whole life. My uncles work in the produce industry. My mom was a server for years at Charlie's Ocean's Grill in Long Branch. So I kind of had the background that I never even realized until after the fact.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems I can kind of see, based on my very limited experience of interfacing with both of you, I kind of see how it works together. How maybe your background, even in dealing with the Little League and dealing with angry customers, perhaps, and then kind of relating it. Maybe you kind of can elaborate on how that kind of works together. If there's issues, are you the one to kind of figure out how to amicably?
I was my main responsibility when we had the one place was I was mainly working in the front of the house. Cameron and we had another business partner at the time. They were really doing the back of the house stuff. Cameron was really flexible. We had a back of the house guy. I was mainly front of the house. And then once we started expanding, I kind of if there was someone that was upset out here and I was here, Cameron's like, you got it.
I'm
Go
banned.
out there.
I'm not allowed.
So I answer all the reviews. I'm interacting with people on a daily basis, and
That's great.
so it's we kind of, like I said before, we kind of fit into our own roles, and we're capable of doing what the other does. But it's just easier when you can kind of have designated spots that you don't have to worry about. You can trust the other person.
Especially if you can have somebody that you could just rely on them. You don't even have to think about it. There's been instances where I'm dealing with businesses and they don't really let you do your job. They're like, oh, I got my job to do, but I want to see what you're doing and I want to tell you how to do yours. And that really never really ends well in my experience. I've also noticed too that in this location, which me and my wife love this location. It's close to where we live. My wife loves the breakfast quesadilla. No shade on the French toast. It's just
it's a fan favorite.
Yeah, I love. I personally, I grew up. My dad would make French toast in the morning. I love French toast. French toast is great. But I noticed at one point before you had your neighbors next door, Bubba Coos, that place was open. And I was wondering at the time, like, oh, why don't this place is always packed? Why don't they expand? And is it the kind of thing where you guys have a certain square footage or a certain number of people that you feel comfortable with? Or was that even available to you at some point to expand?
No, so originally it was a dry cleaner. And then they went out, and we thought about going next door altogether because we liked the windows idea. And we thought we'd be able to get tables around the building. But to move the store would have cost more money. And Bubba Coos didn't want the whole thing. So when they took over, I think that store was 3,000 square feet, and they only needed like 25 or something. So there was an extra 500 square feet.
You're sitting in it right now.
Yeah, we just took it. So it was this room, and then there's like a back, the dishwasher, which you could probably see through the window there, and like a storage closet. So we just took that in. But to move the store costs probably more money than just to rebuild a new one.
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
As square footage wise, I mean, if bricks taught us anything, it's the stores going forward need to have an outdoor patio.
Oh, definitely. With everything, everything's going on.
Yeah.
You definitely need that outdoor area, to at least expand, in that respect. You originally started here or
this
here?
was the first one.
What made the lovely town of Wall or this area kind of appealing?
The rent.
Yeah,
The rent.
That'll do it.
Because it was such a new idea, and I didn't know if it was gonna work. And when we negotiated the rent here, it was like the cheapest rent I had ever seen, and the plaza was it was always nice. I mean, it had Kmart at the time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Joyce Leslie.
Joyce Leslie,
was
yeah.
there. And then
The dry cleaner.
Jersey
the-
Strong's got to help if you know, people are hungry. They
It was
need
the
French toast
traffic
after.
in the plaza. I remember Cameron
Yeah.
told me, he's like, I'm in this plaza, like there's people in there all day. You know, you have the pizza place, Chinese food, dry cleaner, there's constant foot traffic.
GameStop.
And
GameStop's
GameStop's
here.
here, yeah. So
Maybe
we
we'll come back. The
yeah.
stock's going up, guys.
Yeah.
So as far as going from here, did you have this like a bravado of being like, we got this down pat. Let's go up to Middletown. Like, what was that transition to be like?
I think we looked at Fairhaven first, didn't we?
We looked at a lot of places. When we were opening the second one, we even looked out in Pennsylvania at one point.
Wow.
So
Oh,
we
we
really
did.
we really did our like due diligence and kind of looked at all these different areas if possible. We looked in Freehold. We actually didn't go south of here, I don't believe.
I thought we went to Atlantic City.
Yeah, maybe we did.
Wow.
We went all over. We took like a whole year and we looked at possible locations. And I think it really might have added up to not just the location, but the opportunity of being in this spot and being the right price and being the right time. That kind of led us to Middletown. We always had Middletown in our heads as well. That's the spot we always said.
We looked at Union Square first in Middletown.
Oh, yeah.
But the weird thing about that plaza is it's owned by two different landlords somehow. So like the plaza is, if we opened up a Meemom's on like the left side, you could open up Poppy's on the right side, and it'd be the exact same idea.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Like this is not going to work. So, Middletown was it used to be what was it before? It was the Situation.
The
Standing
Situation
Salon.
Standing Salon is what we actually took over.
Nice.
The rent was scary when we did that one at first. It was expensive.
Well,
And
yeah,
then,
Middletown's got to be more expensive. You know, it's a bummer that they shut that down. I went to the Situation's wedding. It was the craziest wedding I've ever been to in
serious?
my life. Yeah, my wife.
random.
Yeah, my wife knows Lauren Pesh is you know, and she grew up. She knew this before he was the Situation. She knew him. He's a really nice guy. Sucks that everything that happened. Glad everything worked out for him.
Yeah.
And it worked out for you guys.
He's been in here before to eat, so.
What did he have to say? Did he love it? Did he have the French toast? What did he have?
I wasn't here.
I wasn't here either, but I said to our managers, like, you need to get a picture of him eating here right now.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
And I made she's here today. I made her go over there and take a picture with him. And
And he was friendly about it. He was cool about it.
yeah. I mean, I think he's come a long way. I think seems like a super nice guy. I've never met him in person, but everything I see about him now is all good stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's weird that people have this perception, like you think you know somebody if you like see them on TV, how it's edited, all that stuff.
Right.
And you know, he seems like a nice guy to me. I'm not. I didn't really watch the show either, so you know.
What did
whatever.
you eat at the wedding?
Huh?
What did you eat at the wedding? I'm
Oh
just
my
curious.
God! It was the craziest. What is it called? The before you go in to sit down at the main meal, there's like the
Cocktail hour.
cocktail hour. Any genre of food that you could think of.
Bro, yours was like that.
Did you have like?
We had sushi.
Yeah,
That
they
was
had
great, yeah.
sushi, Italian. They had these little like burgers, like a shake shop. They had like every. I ate so much at that like cocktail hour that when I sat down, I was like, I can't possibly eat anymore. But like then they serve you like this pasta with the steak. It was in this enormous place. But the weird thing was, it was kind of like this, where there were like lights and cameras. So there was like this whole thing going on that you just kind of saw from like I wasn't in it. I think there's one shot of my like fro in the background at one point in like People magazine, but like
Nice.
there's this whole weird thing where it was like going on and then you were at this event that happened to have like staged things going on.
Yeah.
And then Rob Bass came out and like performed. It was the weirdest thing I ever. Rob Bass, it takes two to make a thing go right.
Oh.
He came out and did like his whole thing. I was like, what the hell's going on? But the food was good, so good times. Thank
No
you,
French
Situation.
toast. No French toast though. I'm just saying.
No, I didn't have any French toast. There probably was French toast. There probably like a breakfast section there, but. Where do you guys see? Do you have a plan, like a trajectory to like open more? Are you all breakfast out? Do you want to open up like Meemom's Lunch Factory? Like, are you thinking of other things, or you like what's going on and you're thinking of expanding? How are you looking at it now?
I think we're just kind of looking to expand more. I mean, COVID kind of put a wrench.
A little bit.
What's that? Wrench in the works? Is that the phrase?
Monkey-
What the hell phrase
monkey
is it?
wrench?
Monkey wrench, something whatever the hell it is.
Sabotage?
Yeah. So until everything else kind of gets ironed out, I don't. We're just kind of getting ourselves out of debt. We've actually been able to pay off more debt since COVID happened in the past year than we were in the past 6 years, which don't understand how, but it's working. So
Yeah.
we should be almost debt free.
Yeah, I think we changed a lot of stuff. Obviously, we had to due to the pandemic. As far as we reduced our menu, which lowered food costs, and we weren't wasting as much stuff. And it changed some things and taught us different ways to do things that we could be more efficient. I guess as a business. So it's been interesting in that aspect, but I think a full year to learn a couple things is great, but we're ready to get back into the swing of things.
I think everybody's really ready to get back to some form of normalcy. Obviously not how it was, but something closer to that. As far as that goes, as far as the last year, I mean, it's like you can't help but talk about the last year when you're talking, especially to businesses. Everybody's dealing with this stuff, and it's been this odd polarity between I've had Asbury Cinemas was on, the owner of that was on maybe a year, 2 years ago. They were expanding into Bradley Beach. Obviously, it affected their business. They're selling both theaters now. There's other businesses where they've boomed, like Windmill did really, really well because they had a system in place to kind of cater to the takeout stuff. When this all hit, were you just like French toast? Like, what are we gonna do? Is there gonna be a French toast shortage? How are we gonna manage this? Like, how did you guys kind of handle this when it kind of during the onset? Who was the calm one?
Probably.
I'm usually the calm one, but
yeah, we changed the menu.
Yeah, we changed our menu. We introduced doing if you went to other restaurants been around a while, they do combos of buy half a sandwich, half a salad. We tried all different ideas out. Prior to the pandemic, we never had delivery, we never had DoorDash. We had to get that obviously to survive, and it's filled a different market where now that we do have dine-in, we see the same people getting DoorDash.
Yeah.
So it probably is going to stay. Maybe not certain hours during the summer, but we're probably going to obviously keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did shut down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't even remember.
We did.
We shut down all the stores for a couple.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't. We were doing so little business at one point that it wasn't even worth having people here to do takeout. We were doing a couple orders a day when it was, I'm talking March, April, when it was really bad. People were really, afraid to go out and eat anywhere. I remember, no one, it was even during the time we had, no one was wearing masks yet. We were just wiping everything down. So we did shut down.
A lot of phases.
Yeah, we did shut down for a little while, and we we rebooted doing the combos and came up with a game plan on how we are gonna tackle this. We got DoorDash, and we have online ordering for pickup now. And
are they gonna let you do outdoor seating at all, or?
We tried it. We did have a couple tables out there, but I mean, it's really tight outside, and it just wasn't. It wasn't worth it really for us.
They should just cordon off that first row of parking.
We tried.
Yeah,
we actually tried it, and it was a whole. I forget what the.
Had to do with the fire lane and stuff like that.
Really weird.
The fire lane. We need French toast, guys. Give me a break. It's interesting too. You talked about your dad owning a bar, and for me, from going out with my dad, I go out with my wife, for breakfast. I go out with my dad to the bar to eat something at night or whatever, and he's very particular. And he taught me the quality as far as not only the food, but it's the service and making sure, if you're going to a bar, you want a bartender that's friendly, that's on top of it, that, you're always there with a full drink or whatever. And it's amazingly difficult to find places. We would follow, there was this one, epic shouts to Todd. He was over at, he was at a place in Bradley Beach, and he was such a great bartender. We followed him over to Taka because it was,
the Elbow Room?
He might have been. He was at, what was it? I can't remember. It was an Italian place on Main in Bradley Beach. Once the son-in-law came in and managed the place, he was a dick. So we left, and the bartender left, so we followed him. Anyway, so it's really hard to find a good place like that. And I become a regular of places like if the service is great, and the food is good, that's what you need. It's amazingly difficult to find breakfast places especially in this area. If you search for breakfast, you get those dumb Yelp lists where it's just these places half of them aren't even open anymore. It's really difficult to find those breakfast places where you could go and hang out and enjoy the service, and also the food is really great. Did you kind of, when you were looking around at places or you're looking at different breakfast places, were you kind of noticing certain things that maybe were lacking in other places, and you're like, I don't want to do it this way, I want to do it better?
I just never saw a French toast type of environment. And that was whenever my grandmother and I got breakfast, that was just all she would eat. And it just kind of just fell in my lap. It just made the most sense. I used to work at the Turning Point. They kind of started me on my breakfast crusade. So I give a lot of, I guess, respect to them for that. And they had always just done it. Their food is just more upscale. Yeah. And I always just kind of liked how that looked. It wasn't diner food. It was, you could tell that the people making it were chefs. Yeah. And it was the inspiration too of I want to do something similar to where it's actually gourmet. It's not something that's just frozen or it's made to order. It's made from scratch.
It's not like a diner. It's
yeah,
right.
And no disrespect to diners by any means. I obviously I eat at one every weekend, but that was kind of the other thing too. I always looked at was how do you just give it a little more upscale, and people notice that. Yeah. Some people don't. Some people just want to complain. Yeah. But I'll go to.
That's where Sean comes in. You're just you tap out.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of fade out.
So, but no, and my thing is, I'll always go to another restaurant. If the service is good, I will continue to go back. Yeah. And even if I go to a restaurant once and everyone says it's so great and I have a bad meal, I'm not gonna say, hey, I'm not gonna try that again. Everybody has an off day. Yeah. And anyone that thinks that restaurants don't have an off day, you're delusional. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
Some people are just never happy too. And
you
realize that.
You can't please everybody. Yeah. Everyone has a different standard of what they expect when they order eggs. You know, eggs is crazy. The amount of standards that people put on them, how they want them cooked, how they want them scrambled for such a simple dish, but it's true. So it's another thing that we would do is, we really try to be personable with the tables. We try to have our servers kind of not just go up to the table like, hey, what do you guys want? What do you want to drink? They kind of have a little spiel they do, and they build customers and guests. They get people to come back because they end up building a relationship with the people that come in and eat. And like you said, you want to go back where you have good service. People recognize that when you're not just throwing a coffee on the table and walking away. You actually care about the people that are coming in. Yeah. So I think that's something that Cameron obviously started doing when he decided to open up Meemom's. Was he wanted that to be something where you build these relationships with the guests. And we even used to do it a lot more when we had one location. Was we knew every person that would come in. We would go up and talk to every single table. And that kind of, we really started making a difference that way and making a name for ourselves.
That's cool. It was funny because I think I started seeing French Toast Dad on Instagram and with a post, I'd be like, oh, cool. This dad loves French toast. That's interesting. And when I kind of put it together, I was like, oh, Meemom's French Toast Dad. I get it now. This makes sense. Do you interface or talk to a lot of different businesses in the area and kind of figure out what they're doing, or is there a network of businesses in that respect?
I wouldn't say through breakfast restaurants. I would say
just businesses overall.
Yeah, I and the French Toast Dad account that I created at the time when I made it was really to network with people and not really not put my family out because I have more of a private account just for my family and friends and my kids and my wife, and I made that just really to network with other businesses and kind of comment on stuff they were doing and maybe share ideas. But as far as a breakfast industry network, I wouldn't say it's like that.
Yeah, no, I just mean more local businesses.
Yeah, I think we try to connect. We recently connected with Bradley Brew Project.
Nice.
We're working on something with them. We're always looking to do stuff like that.
Like a French toast beer or something?
It's not gonna be French toast, but yeah, they have a concept. I don't know. Have you ever been?
No, I've a couple people have recently talked to me about that place.
And I'm not just saying this because we are doing something with them, but I've never really had I've never had a beer I didn't like from there. And I've never really had a beer that I've never liked just in general. But no, they're a good local company, and we're doing something with them. We're open to doing networking with other businesses, and whatever we can do to get our name out there and work together, and especially during this time is like I think really important.
Yeah, the only sad thing or disappointing thing is when like me and my wife would come to we'd come here, and when you'd see that wait outside, when you saw like the overflow, and you were just like, oh, there's no way. And you go in there, I can't believe like the hostess or host would be like, yeah, you're gonna have to, it's 60 minutes. I'm like, holy crap. So I guess that's a good problem for you guys to have, where people are like clamoring to get in. Do you find that there's obviously certain peaks of time where there's like just what time you guys open? 7:30. So
7:30.
Yeah, we've changed it multiple times over the pandemic as well.
So obviously 7:30 it's a little less busy, but there's like I would imagine 10 like 10 a.m. is
10
like
a.m.,
insane.
12, and it depends on the store too, like and the season. Like if you're gonna come here in the summer, I would say like 9 starts to pick up. Our brick location seems to be busy for longer periods of time. Holidays, Mother's Day is our busiest day of the year.
Really?
We don't take reservations, so
It's just Thunderdome.
We're talking like 2-hour wait, and people wait because there's no other options.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was saying before, you search for a breakfast place, and it's like really, especially like in this area, Middletown, there might be other things, but like around here, it's really hard to find like a breakfast place where you could just sit down, be comfortable, and get good food. It's incredibly difficult. I can't say it enough. Like, so it's so great to have you guys like in this area. Well, for me personally, I love it. When did the brick place open up?
2 months before the COVID.
Yeah. What did you when you guys opened up and you had that 2 months? Is it like kind of like a roller coaster where you're just like clicking up the thing and then
we were clicking up all the way. We were on a wait. We were on a wait there every day of the week. Brick is just it's just a great area with tons of people and tons of opportunities for we're in a great plaza there, great shopping, which helps out. So we were going up, still rising up to the top of the roller coaster, and we came down really fast once March came around. But
it was more like, you remember when King of the Cow was getting built and the dummy heads were exploding when it came down, and the thing wouldn't make it over the hill, it would just fall back down. That's pretty much what happened to us. We were at the top of it and then just rolled back down. We're like, great, now what?
Brick, and too, like epic shouts to Brick. People. I've had real estate agents on. I've had mortgage people. I've had people that deal with homes and businesses in that respect. And it really seems that it's getting a really populated Monmouth County and Ocean County. There's some old school heads where they just like they don't get it. Where it's just like you got to expand. If there's nowhere to go, you got to go to the south. Is what I call it. Ocean County. Love you guys. Tom's River. Awesome. Whiting. Epic shouts to Whiting. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe a Meemoms will show up in Whiting. But it's what was that concept when you guys were thinking about expanding and you had a map in front of you? You're thinking Pennsylvania at times. You're thinking different places. Was Brick just kind of based on the research? You kind of just saw Brick as a great opportunity.
We have a really good real estate agent.
Oh, nice.
His name's Todd Katz.
Nice.
Shout out
Epic shouts, Todd.
To Todd, and he kind of found everything. We had looked at Brick and Freehold. Was the two. And I have this pet peeve where if you can't get into the plaza from at least 2 roads, I stay away from it. And I don't like being able to, like, if you have to hit a U-turn to get into the plaza, I stay away from it.
Egress, people. It's what it's all about.
So he found the plaza, and it was not cheap. And we were just kind of like, can we afford
in Brick?
this?
Really?
Yeah. Because the plaza's beautiful.
At a corner at a light?
Dude, they did an awesome job with it.
Yeah, it's great.
We were like, can we afford it? Do we have to raise the prices? And we just said, screw it. There's an outdoor patio. We're not going to be able to find something. And the landlord is awesome out there. So we never had a problem after that. And we kind of knew it right away. Once they said we were able to get outdoor patio and they put us on like this boardwalk area, it was a no-brainer.
Who's Todd Katz with? Sitar, CBRE? Who's he rocking with?
think he's his own thing.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
Epic shout.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he found Middletown. He found Brick, and I think he already knows the next one, but we're not allowed to know it yet.
Oh, really?
we might get shut down if we do.
So you kind of are thinking this ahead at this point, where you kind of every couple years you want to expand, or
It's 2 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, pre-pandemic with like the way we started off in Brick, we're like, by this time now,
Yeah.
we're like, we're gonna have to look for another spot.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're probably like a year back, just based on what happened, and who knows where things are gonna go, but we're always just talking and thinking about that next spot and where we can go, what we want to do. I think the pandemic kind of put some questions in our head. Hey, do we want to stay in New Jersey where you're weather dependent? Do we want to go look in other states? We're having tons of conversations all the time, but as far as like actually physically looking at locations, we're not even there yet.
do you guys have like a playbook where you're like, here's what works, here's like our 10 commandments of French toasting successfully, and do you take that like outline and just apply it to each location?
I mean, I think funny enough, the only play that's not in the playbook that we've succeeded at yet is actually getting each store to look the same. They all kind of have these different like quirks to it. I mean, besides the booths having windows and the color palette, we're still kind of trying to figure out what Meemom's is actually supposed to look like inside. So obviously my dad's an architect, and he kind of has an idea now, and I think over the next probably 6 months, I know Brick's brand new, but you'll see the stores look a little different. The colors will be the same, but we're going to be doing a little bit of a redesign. Not menu-wise, but other than that, I mean, we pretty much have a list of French toast we've done before, and I mean, if this succeeds, it's probably on this list.
What's the most popular, successful, and ultimate French toast experience to have at Meemom's? And are you guys just sick of French toast at this point?
No.
I actually, and I know everyone, we talk about the French toast a lot. I never eat French toast from here.
French toast dad.
Physically, I can't. The French toast dad physically cannot eat French toast every day. So I rely on our egg dishes. We have really good other options besides French toast.
Like I said, my wife loves the breakfast quesadilla.
Yeah, the quesadilla is been a staple. We have a lot of French toast on there. The awberry, obviously the Meemom's is our traditional dish. We've changed a lot. We used to change the menu
Every 6 months.
every 6 months, and we used to do a seasonal specials every season,
Every
right?
3 months, yeah.
Every 3 months. And now we've kind of changed the format where, like I talked about before, we have a good management crew. We rely on them to come up with now monthly specials that we run. Really lay into some of their expertise as chefs, as cooks, as culinary or just experience, coming up with new dishes. And a lot of the times with the specials we run, that creates a new dish that's so popular that we have to put it onto the menu.
Oh, cool. I mean, that's a good way to test it.
Yeah.
What about, your charitable efforts with, I believe you're doing the French Toast of the Month? Or...
Yeah, so we started this idea probably like 5 years back now, where we would take a portion of the French Toast of the Month, which is our monthly French Toast special, and pick a charity and donate it to that charity. I don't have a total number of dollars raised. It's not something we track. We just do it because we can not only network with the charity, but you're providing a good service, giving money. In the early days, we ran into a lot of people just approaching us, trying to get on. Hey, we have this charity we're going to save
the whales.
We're going to save the whales, and
whale French toast. Come on, guys, it'll work.
And now we kind of pick it maybe by a theme of the month. It's really our Susie, who's our PR, social media. She's been handling that, making sure, obviously calculating what we make at the end, getting it to those charities, but kind of putting a theme behind it. Like February did the Heart Association, and this month we're actually doing the Barstool Fund.
Oh, nice.
So
that's awesome.
Just giving money to them to give to other small businesses. And
great.
sometimes it's not a lot, but everything counts. And
yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with the Barstool Fund, they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're raising a lot of money, and you watch those videos, and it's just like you're helping people out so much that you see those business owners, and I'm sure you guys can relate on that kind of empathic or compassionate level to see like how tough it is, especially in certain areas. So that's really awesome. I really want to thank you guys. When you were in a band, did you guys ever cover a song? Did you have a cover song, or was it all originals?
No, we covered a couple songs. We played like the fairs, so when we had to play those fairs, we had to cover like
Journey.
No, my voice wasn't that high.
Last time I saw Cameron play live,
Oh, no,
it was
you're-
at the Saint, and he played
6 years ago.
Scotty Doesn't Know.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
There's no video artifacts of
There
that.
is video
there
artifacts.
is. I don't
We
know
will
if
be
you-
showing it an exclusive on Totally Local right after this.
No
Tune
way.
in. Guys, I want to thank you a lot. It's really awesome to see a local business that you care about the area, you run it well, and you really enjoy what you're doing. That's what Totally Local Podcast is really all about, is really meeting people that love this area, that love Monmouth County and Ocean County. They understand the vibe of what's going on around here. And, they're really out to meet other businesses and provide, just quality service, not only with the food, but like you were saying, like whenever I come in here, people, they're always friendly. I'm a little antisocial sometimes, believe it or not. Having a podcast, it's a lot easier to do this than actually talk to.
I agree with you on that. Actually. I'll agree.
We do. We also podcast as well.
I
so,
know.
yeah.
I was gonna mention that as well. What's the name of your podcast?
So
There was
the overall
the
premise
nerd-
is why am I a nerd?
Yes.
And then we have a couple. I do a sports podcast with a buddy of ours, and Cameron does a comic book podcast, video game podcast, and we do some other funny little skits. And
Where
stuff.
can we find these podcasts at? Are these like secret podcasts that nobody wants? You don't want people to know about, right?
Yeah. The sports one's called 4th and 1. The video game one is Alpha Beta Gold Games, and then Yo What Up Comics. And they're we do them for fun. We've had guests on before. I know, especially on the comic podcast, Cameron's had some really cool people on there.
Right on.
So it's it's something else, just another thing we're doing. And
That's cool. Well, if you're having a nerdy one and you want a guest on to talk about either comic books or Magic the Gathering, trust me, I can talk for hours about all that
You're a
stuff.
comic dude?
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're comics, you play music. So can I turn this interview on to you now? Because you've already
yeah.
drilled me with the music stuff twice.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do you play?
Right now I'm producing hip hop. I have a background.
Producing hip hop.
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah. Nude Curtis, go check it out. Spotify, it's out everywhere. Go check it out. That's my rap name.
Nude Curtis?
Nude.
Oh, nude.
Nude, as in naked. Nude Curtis. So go check that. I put out my album. I haven't made an album the last album I officially put out was 2004, and then I decided to make this album before my child was born. I didn't get it out till 3 months after he was born, and it was right at during the onset of the pandemic, which was awesome. I do it just because I'm passionate about it and I love it. My wife wants me to promote it more, but what are you gonna do? I got my
You do it
own.
in your basement?
Huh?
You have a studio in your basement or in the house?
With hip hop, it's a lot easier, but I decided I wanted it when you're recording the vocals, I wanted it to sound really, clear and professional. So I worked with this buddy of mine, Joe, who I met through my wife. So he has a background in engineering and stuff. So he helped me record it. I collaborated with a lot of people either online or people I know who it's funny because it's easier to work with people you don't know than it is to work with people you do know.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You ask. I remember reaching out to people and being like, hey, I need a saxophone on this song. Do you want to help out? And you'd never hear back from them. But if you reach out to a stranger online that's in Spain and he's not doing anything, he will give you an epic sax solo. Check that out on the album. It's pretty sweet.
So I go way up north. I go to this studio called Nada. The guy's name's John DeClario. He's way up north in Montgomery, New York. And every time I go there, I don't play drums.
Yeah.
And so we always hire a drummer.
Yeah.
And I'll never meet the guy. And I was like, oh, listen, you're recorded on my phone demo. And he comes in, he just blasts the song out 20 minutes.
yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's
all right.
It's so when you're gonna do something like that too, it's you start to get into it, and it starts. Well, for me, it started out as I'm just gonna casually do this, and then years go by, and you're have all these songs, and you're all right, well, I'm gonna record it. You record the vocals, and you're wow, that sounds like crap. I'm gonna go somewhere, and I'm gonna actually get them professionally recorded so it sounds clear. and I just kept pushing myself to get it done and get it done. I was actually coincidentally supposed to do a show at the Saint. And then
sell that place.
Yeah, they were trying to raise money for it, and then it's obviously a tough time. If I had the money, it's the last cool, like unpolished Asbury Park venue in the area, that I could think of. But obviously that didn't work out. But I kept pushing myself to just get it done, and I listen to the album now and I hear all the things I want to do differently. So it made me want to make the next album I'm working on now, just kind of polish it up even more. It's just the process and learning how to do it.
I'll have you rap on one of my songs.
Oh man, are you so you're still doing stuff? You're still making stuff?
Yeah, I actually just finished the last 3 songs. I got to figure out what to do with it. I did like 25 songs in the past year by accident.
Yeah.
I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And now I just got to figure out what to do with it.
That's what I have about 30 demos just lined up. And I gotta put the lyrics to them and then just polish them up a little bit and then just narrow it down.
You should reach out to Jimmy Franklin if you don't know who that is.
No, I don't. Who's Jimmy Franklin?
Jimmy Franklin. He has the Working Class Musician as his YouTube channel. He's probably the best guitar player I've ever met in my life, and he's I think he just turned 30.
Oh, wow.
Call me if I'm wrong. He might be younger than that.
He's
I think
TikTok famous for his
awesome.
guitar
You
demos.
need to reach out to him
All right,
and do
cool.
an interview with him or whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
that dude's
dude.
the man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely do that. I mean, I love, during this whole pandemic or during this whole thing, you really had a minute to be like, what the hell do I want to be doing? What the hell am I doing? And what do I not want to do anymore? And it really kind of, through the encouragement of my wife, thank you so much to her for just, pushing me to do what I did. She still gets mad at me that I don't advertise it or push it out there more, but I'm I just did it because I enjoyed doing it.
It's also not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's time or money. You start to look at talk about TikTok. It's funny. Once I joined TikTok, once you hit the algorithm and you start looking at different things, it's not all teeny boppers dancing around. It's all these different genres or marketing or music and all this stuff. And the amount of time that you have to put into not making music and put into promoting the music, it's kind of a pain in the ass where you try to get on Spotify lists now. It's so much different than 20 years ago when you just have to play shows, sell your CDs, and have your MySpace page updated. It's a lot of this. Doesn't have anything to do with the music. You have to just push yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it works if you put yourself on Spotify lists or network with people. But that's not what I want to be doing. As far as making the music or doing that. When can we expect for you to have your music all tied up and?
I'm hoping in the next 2 or 3 months. And I really have to figure out what to do with it all. It's all done. It's just now about sitting back.
Is it mixed and mastered?
Yep.
And,
wow! It's all mixed and mastered, so it's ready to go. I just got to figure out what to do with it now.
What is it more like? Is it just more like rock? Is there
It's
80s
rock?
Oh, nice.
80s, kind of like a John Mellencamp type
sweet.
thing. So it's
cool.
It's
just put it out there, man.
I know, but you know the deal. You got to go on iTunes, but then there's another, or not iTunecore. There's something else called
DistroKid.
DistroKid.
If you do, it's so funny. If you do CD Baby. Back in the day, CD Baby was where you just get your CDs burned, but now
I remember that.
If you do it through there, they hook you into either ASCAP, BMI, all that stuff, make sure everything is legit, and then they distribute it out to all the different places. Makes it a hell of a lot easier.
TuneCore, you have to pay per song or something, where the other ones you can just do as a group, here's 5 songs, put them out.
Yeah, a lot of hip hop people like using DistroKid, but you still don't get the same. You don't get the same rights as far as the ownership of it.
Okay.
It gets when you're doing it through CD Baby, you have all these extra options where you could make sure that when it goes out there that you're getting paid for everything. Not that I'm making millions of dollars off it,
right.
But if people do use it on, it's funny. I had somebody interview me on the podcast about Epic Shouts, Angelo Gingerelli, Mr. Fifth Round on Instagram. He came on because, he knows a lot about hip hop, and he interviewed me about the album. And my YouTube video, I was just telling Christian this before, it got flagged. So I had to write to YouTube and be like, this is my song.
Yeah, they're weird with that stuff.
Yeah, you just gotta, I think they're even still trying to figure that stuff out now. But
I think we have potential here for a possible music video collaboration in Meemoms.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we could definitely do that. We could definitely, have epic shouts to Wrecked Productions. They have a whole black box studio with smoke machines and all this stuff down in Tinton Falls. So you could do a mix, man. We could definitely collab on something. I love doing that. Oh yeah, that would be great.
As long as you don't tell them that you like Spider-Man, we're on the same page, okay?
I mean, there's so many different versions of Spider-Man.
Here we go.
I like.
He's not
classic.
a Spider-Man fan. If you can guess, I mean,
are you more like DC? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Interesting. Well, that's a whole hour and a half.
All right, come on the show.
A Snyder cut. What did you think?
That's another hour and a half conversation about that.
4 hour. It was.
You could tell what was old and what was new.
Yeah.
It didn't even look the same.
And then the end, the weird alternate.
The epilogue? That was so bad.
I was like, what are we
That was so
doing on a
stupid.
different, universe or whatever? Like, why is this in here? That didn't make any sense. It did go by rather quickly when I was watching it. Oh yeah.
Dude, me and my buddies were watching. I was like, all right, we're probably halfway through. We hit pause. It was 45 minutes in. I'm like, oh my god, this is awful.
I definitely didn't. I think I stopped it maybe halfway through, and then I finished it later on. But I got what was it on HBO Max? I got HBO Max for that, and then after I watched it, I'm like, what else is on this that I even care about?
just gotta wait for Godzilla vs Kong to come out, and Matrix 4 is gonna be out.
Mortal Kombat.
Matrix 4,
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat, that would be cool. As far as the DC universe, I just can't get by. Batman is awesome.
Okay, good. We're on the same
That's his
page.
guy.
That's
All right,
right,
you
that's
found
right.
it out.
Man.
I can't get behind Superman.
I can't either.
I once you learn the history of Superman, how they kind of sort of ripped off Shazam in the beginning, and then you get into how they just kept stacking his powers and stacking and stacking. I'm like, this guy, there's no real trauma here. There's no real talking about Spider-Man. There's a story there that okay, he's human, whatever, spider, radioactive, yada yada yada. But there was some kind of tension built in there. When it comes to the DC universe, it's just like people are just plopped in it. They're just like
The
boom.
cartoons are so much better, like the animated movies, blow the real ones away. And I'm like, why can't you just mimic the animated movies?
What's your favorite DC animated movie?
Mine?
Yeah.
I liked how accurate the Killing Joke was. But
That was interesting. It was shot really interesting.
They needed to get rid of the whole first 25 minutes of that movie. It was so dumb. But I get it. If you took that away, the movie would have only been 40 minutes long.
Yeah. That was. I actually watched that one. That one was pretty. That was pretty
We
good.
saw that in theaters.
Yeah. We went to Middletown
wow.
to see it.
You're a serious fan then, huh?
Dude, you should see my Batman collection in my house. I got a secret bat room in my house. I'm not kidding.
Batman. That's what I mean too about that tension is there's a story there. Now, in the case of Batman and Spider-Man, have they beat it to death at this point? Sort of. They in regards to the movies,
Yeah,
it's definitely been too much. I was really surprised with the Spider-Man, that animated movie with the multiverse or whatever.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm remiss to tell people that when I tell people I'm a fan of Wolverine, it's I was a fan of Wolverine in '92.
Enemy of the State Wolverine.
Huh?
Did you read Enemy of the State?
No.
It's a really good book. You should.
I got up to.
This is going way off track now. Now we're
It's fine. It's fine. Sorry, Sean. We'll talk about stretching or sports. I don't know.
It's all right. I hear this all the time.
I think I got one of the original series 1 to 100, and then I was just kind of out at that point. And it's then the movies came out. Hugh Jackman did a pretty good job. They made horrible movies. The only good one was the last one of Wolverine when he's
Logan?
old. Yeah.
that is a good one.
That one
He's
was
too
good.
tall to play Wolverine, man. They need someone like
They're
me.
super.
5'4". Right
What's his
here.
actual? What's his real height in the?
He's 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah, I think he's 5'2". But I thought he was really good back then. But like anything, it's just what are they going to do with him after a while, And then he became so popular, it wasn't cool to say you like
he
Wolverine.
shouldn't be a main focus in those. In the next set of movies, he should just be a background character.
Yeah.
Remember a '90s cartoon?
Yeah.
It was the main character.
That was-
He
yeah.
was in it.
Yeah. And
Drops
then
a one-liner and walks away.
I was so sad with the Dark Phoenix,
That movie was so bad.
Yeah, they didn't do Age of Apocalypse was my favorite offshoot. When episode 50 or around there of Wolverine is when they started the Age of Apocalypse, and when that happened, that mini series, I still obviously have it, and it was so good because they took you out of the normal universe and they could just do whatever the hell they wanted. It was really great. And then after that, I kind of, fell off. But when they made that movie, I was so depressed because they just effed it up. Olivia Munn as Psylocke or whatever was just a sad thing. Anyway, we've really gone off track. But I want to thank you guys so much for doing this podcast with me. I really, I love the concept. I love what you guys are doing. It's a great concept. It's a great story behind it. If you ever want to have me on a podcast to talk about nerdy stuff, I could definitely do that.
Yeah.
As far as sports, I've been on podcasts where people talk about sports and my eyes glaze over and I kind of like pass out in the corner, which is fine too.
It's all right. Cameron causes a lot of controversy on our sports podcast. He was arguing who a better athlete is between two people, and then he followed it up with, I know nothing about sports. So
I did that on Simmons and Moore podcast, Epic Shouts. I told Bobby Moore now, they talk about sports on there, and I'll just I'm going to randomly comment on your tweets, and that's what I do now. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, but the run percentage for the goalie stuff, I just make stuff up, and he gets mad at me. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Where's the best place to reach you, or should people just come in and get a piece of French toast?
Yeah, coming in and eating is the best place. But if you're looking for us on social media, we're at Meemoms on Instagram, and then each of our stores has their own Facebook page to contact us on there. If you do come in, you have a good experience, feel free to leave us a review, or just send us an email, give us some feedback. We're always looking for positive feedback or some criticism where we can make improvements. So.
Awesome. Well, Sean, Cameron, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ming and Christian from a Shared Universe podcast studio for hooking this all up. I love it. Go check out the Garden State Film Festival. It's happening. Ming's over there setting up. I'm gonna hopefully stop in there and shoot the breeze with them. Find Totally Local on totally_local_ podcast on Instagram. Leo Mack named it that. I did not. The underscores are difficult, but we'll deal with that later. Facebook, just look up Totally Local Podcast. You'll find us. Obviously, we're the only one that I know of that I've seen. Thank you so much again. Till next time, guys. Peace out. I'm going to have some French toast or something.